Anyone else see Alcaraz's explosive interaction with the chair umpire in Doha this week? You know, the world number one didn't hold back, calling the ATP's time rule.
Okay, well, I think we got a point.
Exactly. And it's kind of a question the tennis world is buzzing about right now. And it made me think, what is the actual rule when it comes to time violations in professional tennis? First things first, we probably need to break down what the rule book actually says. So, for those of you that aren't aware, a few years back, tennis implemented essentially a pitching clock, if you're a baseball fan, rule, but for serves. So, the timer starts when the umpire orders play, or the ball goes out of play. If a player spends too much time, which is over 25 seconds, the first offense is a warning. The second and any subsequent offenses is a point penalty for both servers and receivers, no arguments. And it sounds simple enough, right? And it's not necessarily even a new system. The ATP has been enforcing time violations with warnings and increased penalties for more than a decade now. Now, what happened with Alcaraz is, in his quarterfinal match with Karen Khachanov, Alcaraz finished a long rally and jogged to get his towel, and the chair umpire gave him a time violation, and Alcaraz was pretty pissed. He asked questions like, "I'm not allowed to go to the towel?" and later called the ATP's rule shit during the exchange with the umpire. And, you know, the umpire did what umpires do best, didn't acknowledge Alcaraz at all, treated the violation as valid, and said she started and stopped the clock properly around the towel time. And, you know, wasn't going to go back on what was already made. Now the question is, well, was Alcaraz justified in complaining? I think so. I don't actually think this is his fault. Look, the rule is clear on paper for sure. 25 seconds between points. But the enforcement across tournaments, across umpires, is anything but consistent. At some events, the clock starts automatically after the last ball lands. At others, the umpire starts it manually. Some umpires rigidly enforce the letter of the law, while others give it breathing room. It's not uniform enforcement, and that's the problem. It directly creates confusion for players who finish points at the net or need to get a towel in between points, like the heavy sweaters, like Jack Sock or something like that. Or players that just need to catch their breath. Or players dealing with screaming fans still in their ears. And with all that, the players are expected to hit a serve before the clock expires. So Alcaraz isn't necessarily just asking for a free pass, he's asking for clarity, fairness, and consistency most of all. Because right now, every umpire interprets this rule differently. It's like giving 30 different referees 30 different stopwatches in 30 different stadiums, and then wondering why players are confused. It's not Alcaraz's job to memorize umpire moods. And I'm not trying to be that guy, but being a tennis umpire seems like the easiest possible umpire, especially nowadays. You're not running around the field like in soccer. You're not making controversial calls really ever. You have a robot that's calling all the lines for you. And for some reason, the ATP can't consistently enforce a 25-second serve clock. It's pretty unbelievable. Remember, it shouldn't be the player's responsibility to guess how aggressively someone will enforce a rule. And it's also not fair to punish someone for grabbing a towel after a marathon rally. I don't think the problem is the rule. The problem is the umpires themselves and their lack of uniform enforcement. So, how do we improve this? Well, I think there's two options. Every event uses the exact same system: a shot clock, manual start time, and clear procedures that players are informed of before the match begins. Or if you really can't do that, if the umpires are truly unable to maintain a consistent limit, then 25 seconds isn't enough, especially for the large courts where the towels are in each respective corners. Maybe bump it up to 35 or even 40 seconds. Or maybe based off of certain conditions, humidity, big points, long rallies, the number gets increased. Because right now you've got umpires playing referee, timekeeper, and judge with zero accountability pretty much. Now the question is, will something like this actually change? Well, maybe. I mean, if enough top players start pushing back collectively, then the ATP will probably have to revisit the rule. Because when the best players in the world think your rules are absurd, it's not just an opinion, it starts to become a systemic problem. But what do you think? Are the umpires a bit too dodgy when enforcing this 25-second time clock? Or are we complaining about nothing? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.